Hello, my darlings. Back here, I'm Faith and Grits, and back to play in my Edith Holden inspired journal. So this is make 3, and I've been playing with some freezer paper. So as in my last treasure haul video, I explained, brought this back with me from holiday. So Reynolds freezer paper. So freezer paper and a napkin. And it's like a marriage made in heaven, of what I found so far. So some ups and downs playing with this stuff today with the iron. So just using napkin, and I fiddled around and played with applying it to fabric as well, to make some tags and things to go into the journal. A couple of envelopes and a policy envelope. So I do hope you stick around and enjoy and like what you see. So for you, I'll be back in a tick. So my darlings, in my little craft room, having a play, so I opened up the freezer paper to have a little play with. And very interesting stuff. It's like parchment paper, but it's just got that plastic coating on one side. So easy to tell the difference. One side's matte, one side's shiny. So I tried a piece of gift wrap tissue, but for whatever reason, the white background got discolored with my craft iron. So I've rubbed it down with some vintage photo. It didn't do it on the white background of that one, but I did sort of learn a lesson. That one's got a little bit of damage on it. I was concentrating a bit too much on the edges, I think, when I was ironing, and I had to go back and repress it from where I cut it. So, lesson learned, and then I did sort of a policy envelope one that I want to put a closure on, and that's just out of a standard, standard napkin, anyway, or serviette, as they say in the UK. So let's pop these out of the way somewhere. So I've got my little tiny but mighty little craft iron out. I found this in Lidl's, about a year or so ago. Tiny but fierce. Right, you do not want steam on this, apparently. So I've got my little IKEA mini ironing board. I only ever use this for mixed media, so it is getting kind of grungy. So let's have a go. So I've got one of those napkins out again. I've removed the plies from the back. Make sure my paper is shiny side up. And I'm going to give this a little bit of a press now. So I tried with printer paper last night, and of course you can't see through that. So I had baking paper sheets down in the kitchen, so I went and got one of those, because you can actually see through it. And I think with that first attempt, I didn't heat it long enough. So the pieces I did after that, I spent more time with the iron, just making sure that the whole thing got very, very hot. Yes, concentrating on your edges, but not forgetting to really heat up the middle as well. And flipping it and ironing on the back as well. So for this bit of ironing, I will speed this bit up. So here we go. So, right, my darlings, that is good and well stuck now, all the way around. Lovely. So I'm going to leave that cool a minute. Now, I think the freezer paper bonds napkins. It looks like it bonds gift wrap tissue really well. So I need to go through my boxes and see what else I've got. I can perhaps, and I want to have a go sewing through this stuff as well. But before I do that, it says that it bonds fabric temporarily. So let's try piece of fabric. So I got my scrap piece of, now this is just a cotton, a thin cotton. But I'm wondering if it bonds it well enough for me to sew and back this with regular paper. So let's have a go anyway, see. So again, for ironing, I will speed this bit up. So here we go. So there we go. It is bonded and quite flexible. And according to what I found online, it's not a permanent bond with fabric because it peels away easily. But I'm wondering now if I sew around it, get it backed with something. So let's get this out of the way. So I've got that piece and that piece, and those I did previous. I'm going to get some tea-dyed paper out, perhaps back a couple of these, and get them through the sewing machine and see what I come up with. So for that, I'll be back with you in a tick. Right, back from the sewing machine, and I did get carried away a little bit, just a little bit. So this was that first envelope. I've given it a little bit of ink, but it's ready to go and ready to be filled. And I made a slightly larger one out of a napkin. But again, this was really stark white in here, and I went back with that vintage photo and just dampened it back a bit. So I'm not sure if that should fit in the journal, but we'll have to check. These then I've run through the sewing machine. That is the same napkin as that one, but I've just folded it in half and backed it on the inside with some tea-dyed writing paper. I run that through the sewing machine. So the napkins held really, really well. I'm quite pleased with that. Apart from that first mistake when I don't think I heated it enough, the napkin seems to have bonded really, 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 really well. So that was that gift wrap tissue. I've cut that into a tag shape and backed that with paper as well. These are fabric ones that I fiddled with. It did not like the slippy fabric. When I started putting it through my machine, it was pulling away from the freezer paper. So the fabric, the scrap piece here, fabric just comes right off. And it doesn't leave any residue or anything on the fabric. So I can see why quilters like using this stuff. I just need to think now, how am I going to utilize it in my journals? But it's held. The fabric's not going anywhere. I've stitched all the way around, backed with paper as well. Some of this sheer fabric seems to have bonded better than others. So, I don't know. Maybe it's the weight of the fabric, because this stuff was, this one, it's so papery thin, and it seems to have bonded better than that one did. So, and these are a bit heavier. That's that sort of stretchy, like legging type material. But again, it feels like quite a substantial card now. Sewn all the way around, backed with tea-dyed paper. And that one was a thinner cotton. And the thin, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Fat quarter type cotton has bonded better than that. So I think it's just a matter of experimenting and thinking how I want to utilize this paper. So before I do anything else, I need to go and find some brads and some decorative bits to go on the top. I started the policy envelope. I need to finish that off. So I need to go grab my brads and some bits to go on the tops of these tags. So back in a tick. Right, so I've gathered a few things together. Got brads out, got some lacy trims and bits and bobs out. Let's finish this first. So all I've done is taken some leaves, a card circle, and popped a brad through for that envelope top. I don't want to assemble this yet until I put the bottom on. So I've got a brad going through there, and I want to put another circle. It's not going to completely cover the brad, but it should be enough to secure it. So let's pop some glue on that. And I got fluff. There's fluff everywhere because I've had the fabric out. Glue that down. Give it a... No, you can't give it a smush. It's art. It's not going to go anywhere. Once it is down, it ain't moving. So, and now I want another circle. Pin back in the glue. I want another circle, say, here. Because that's going to come down. And another circle. One of these is inked. That one, I think. Say there. And I didn't get any string out. I still got a bit of string on that. And a brad through that one. So, hold it in place where I want it. It's a bit fiddly. Pokey tool. Roughly the middle. And try not to poke myself in the finger. Give that a wiggle. And see if I can get that brad through there. There we go. Now I want to leave a little bit. I don't want that brad flush, because I want to be able to have room to wrap the string around it. So have a little bit of space there, and get another circle glued on the back of that, just in case. You're not going to see the inside of this one once it's closed up. So a bit of glue, and on we go. Flip that over a bit. That's fine. Pin in the glue. Now, am I right? Come on. Get to make contact. Then I can glue it up. So no, this has been a bit of a learning curve working with this paper, for sure. Let's get this thing glued shut, and I can come back to it and add string, give Art a chance to do his thing. Where do I want to glue? All right, I've given myself a pencil mark down here. And give myself a little bit of space there, and a little bit on that top edge here. There we go. And that should be fine. Close that bit up and glue the bottom. And there's our little policy envelope. Glue the bottom shut. So, thoughts, my darlings, anybody out there do junk journaling with this freezer paper? It's definitely a win for napkins and tissue paper. It's bonded that very well. Mixed opinions on the fabric at the moment. But it did, pardon me, it did do what it says on the tin, so to speak. It did keep the fabric, you know, flat and secure in place for cutting. I got nice cut lines on it, for sure. So let's pop this one to the side, ready for string after. Before I go through these others, I need to know where they're going to be in the signature before I add any decorative bits to it. And I can do the brads as I go along. So for that big green envelope, that big one here, I'm thinking it's going to fit into one of those wagtail fuchsia pages. Is it going to go? Yes. Does it stick up too high? That's the question. And yes, it does. It sticks up too high in that one. Where's it going? There we go. This might end up being too large to include here. What about in the other ones? Are any of those sitting lower in the book? That one could sit lower. That one could sit lower. Where's it gone? I just had it in my hand. Oh, there it is. So that will fit in there because that page can sit lower in the signature. That's fine. So what else have I got? That needs, I've got that writing one. That's just the napkin folded in half. I know I'm sort of at my max. Now that one has to sit higher because it's got the flip up on the other side. So that's a no for that one. What about this one? Can that sit? That can sit lower. So that will fit in there. Yes, because it's going to stick up a little bit higher. But it's not going to affect the signature. No. So next, let's have a think now on these tags. And I'm going to stick with the brighter brass for this journal, I think, because I seem to have a wealth of those over all other colors. So let's get an eyelet in the top and see where it can live. I did not like punching that. Did not like going through that fabric. Get that one in. So the tags still feel relatively thin, but substantial, if that makes sense. Because really, it's just that freezer paper and that printer paper, tea-dyed printer paper on the other side. So does that need a whack? I find these all, pardon me, they always need a bit of a whack with a hammer. Because the Crocodile does brilliant with the branded memory keepers, but not so much with your generics. So where is this going to live? Hold on 2 secs. Alright, sorry about that. My hubby was shouting downstairs because I hammered on the table with a hammer. So, let's see, where can that tag live? I haven't really put any extra pockets in here for these. I might just stick them in there for now. So let's get something into the top of that one. I got a bit of pink. I got a bit of something neutral for that. bit of that, a bit of that. I don't know if that will go through. Try, or just pink. I don't think that one will go through. I don't think it'll go through the hole. Give it a go. No, it's not going to go through without pulling it too much. Have I got anything thinner? I've got a tiny piece of rickrack there. And that pink string. Let's have a go. Scissors. Will that go through? It never works when I've got the camera on. If I didn't have the camera on, I'd be right. It seems like it sometimes. Can I force that through there? I don't want much sticking at the top, just something. I can always go back and change it later if I want. Something small. Stick it at the top. And let's go back to the second one now. Got that tag. Again, no side tucks for that one. I may just stick them in those for now, because I've just realized I haven't added any sort of extra. These are all belly bands and sides. So that can go in there. Let's get a brad into it. See if this will go through that fabric. Oh, that's going to scrunch as well. Maybe just stick to cotton. Don't want to rip it, but I got to get enough of it away so that the brad can poke through. Let's have a go. Just going to push it all the way through. Should do. And then once the brad is squished, if anything sticks out, it's easier to trim. Scrunch that one down. And give that a little bit of a tap. And something on the top of that. I didn't get anything red out. It's something. Is that too long? That's better. But I want it doubled over. Pop it through and pull. Yeah, that's enough. Let's go through the other side. I can never remember which side. Just try going through the other side. So there's a question for you out there that do tags. When you do a pull through like that, you start in the front or start in the back? Yeah, start in the back. That's better. Pop that one in there. It sticks out a bit, but that'll be lower in the signature. That was signature 2. Let's look at 3. Spread some of these out. There was another envelope, and I think I prefer that in a belly band or a side tuck. But it's quite bold in the color. So where is it going to look better? Perhaps in one of the other signatures. Let's try that first one. And I know I'm sort of belly aching now about sort of deciding where things go. That's okay. Pop that one in there. Go back to that third one now again. And that purple one. I really like the way that's come out. So I just want to get them in here for now. If that gets a brad and goes in as a belly band, it's a nice fit. But of course, I can't have anything in the top of the tag. So, where else? Oh yeah, I need to add a lot more sort of tucks in here, I think. Let's just pop them in for now. That can go in there. It's got a brad in it. And those other two, I'm thinking I want to put side trims on instead of a top. See, that's gone through lovely and clean. I don't have a great deal of that decorative gift tissue, but definitely something I think I'll look for in TK Maxx again, because they've had some lovely ones. Like they've had William Morris ones, some gorgeous florals. Now these cheap brads, honestly. I gotta make sure that they're not sharp, or this is gonna catch on something. So again, what have I got? What about that one? It's another neutral. There's a purple in there, but that's a bit bright. And I don't think that'll go through the eyelets, same as that other one. Let's try a bit of this. Not sure if a double lot of this will go through. No. A single lot of it through. And give it a tie. Because the beauty of these is that this can be removed and changed. So leave that one in there. And that was the last signature. Then I've got these two that I'm thinking, right, let's get some twine onto that one. I don't have any here. I don't know, that might work. Super thin ribbon here. Or do I want a piece of rope on there? Let's just try the ribbon. So I want to tie it under here. Give it a little bit of a knot. Without knot in the leaf. Come on. And then once more underneath, for good measure. Do that as a knot. Trim that bit off. There we go. And then I can just close it up. 1, 2, 3. That's not all you need. Where can this live now? Not many options. Again, I need to get some more tucks in there. Will that fit in as a belly band? Yes, but let's try. Where was that other tuck? That was the flip up. Already put something in that one. The other side of that one. No, let's try the other one. in something like that. No, it's too tall. And here, no, that one's got to be higher up. Or in, that's a belly band. Decisions. Try that one. Now, I don't know, that belly band might work better. Or the tuck that's on the other side. Or is it? Now that's a nicer look, I think. That's a shorter page. No, it's going to have to go. Shorter. That's a different size page. Sorry, I am just making this up as I go along, I think. Doesn't matter. These can get moved about in the journal later. No. Right. Go back to that original one here. Or not original one. It can go in there. It can go in there for now until I get some more pockets and tucks in here. So these last two, that green one, will that work in there? Yes. But if I put it there, it needs a dangle coming out this side. So I'm going to put an eyelet then in that corner, I think. Yes. So make sure I got the right side. And go in from the corner. Oh, come on. I always think, right, this is going to be straightforward, and then I forget it's fabric. And the crocodile and fabric do not cooperate sometimes. Right, let's get that one in. Give it a mash all the way around. Please have gone in. That's a bit better. Give it a tap. So if it's sticking out that side, it needs something pretty coming out. Let's try that one again, coming from the back. And poke those through. My fingers will cooperate. Honestly. There we go. From the side. Lovely. And then that last one can go into here. Go. No, it's a bit dark. That's a bit. No. Middle one. There's that belly band gone. Side tuck isn't going to work. That's too tall. I think this one may be too tall. I might have to go into one of these. So if I do that, I'm going to leave the eyelet off that one for now until I decide its final resting place. Because if it's going to be on the left or the right, will determine where the eyelet goes. So I'm going to leave that there for now. So no, quite pleased with that and how that's come about. So playing with freezer paper. So I'm quite pleased with how these have come out for the tags. I definitely need more spaces in the book. I need more pockets and tucks and things to be filled. And I need to make some smaller journaling cards for these smaller spaces that need filling, and things to go inside some of those as well. So, no, that's all for me, I think. And that was an interesting play using freezer paper. So, will I buy it again? I don't know. But I'm definitely promising results using napkins and, where's that thing gone? There it is. Hold on. Definitely very promising using napkins and tissue paper. Less so with fabric, but definitely doable for fussier fabrics to hold them in place until you get them sewn. So, very interesting, my darlings. So, I hope you've enjoyed, and if you've got any advice or any suggestions, please leave me a comment down below. So, thank you ever so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up, give me a like, and take care, everyone, and hope to see you back again soon. Bye for now.